Welcome back to Wizard Supercoach. Finally decided that I'd put out a video showing the draft team I'm doing at the moment. It's been changing every few hours, to be honest. I can't settle on anything, but there's been a few builds of it that are pretty similar, and this is where it's at right now. So barring a few players, this is pretty much where I've landed for the last week. I'll get straight into it, I guess. I'll start with the defence. I think Nick Dacos, he's just a beast. You can't really go past him. The other similar build to this team I was doing, I had Sicily at D1, but I've been a bit put off with a bit of this Amon stuff and how he may impact him if the Hawks are looking to go through others coming out of defence now. I still think Sicily's a good pick, and I could easily end up going with him. It does seem to change hour to hour, but yeah, right now, decided to take my own advice a bit and just lock in Dacos for now, because I think that he will maintain his price a lot better than Sicily. I think Sicily at some point is going to drop down and become more attainable than Dacos, so that's basically the reasoning behind it. Even though there's the extra buy I'm not so keen on, but it is what it is. Second one is Tom Stewart. So if you've watched my my videos with points given up by position, you'll see that Geelong has a really good opening run for their distributors out of defence. So Stewart's pretty much the only one I would say. Yeah, I think that he'll really start off with a bang, so I'm looking to capitalise on that. And we know after all these years that he's just absolute quality, and as long as he can keep his body right and not go in the midfield, hopefully, I think he's in for another big year. He's definitely, has to be a lock for top 6 defence at least. So this one's not going to surprise anyone. Hayden Young looks to be going into the midfield now, as he finished off last year, and he did really well. I think he averaged like 105 or something like that. So for that price, I'm all about it. Just put him in there. Hopefully he can maintain that. It does scare me a little bit that Fife seems to be the talk of the town now. If you look at, let's go to the CBAs here. I've been looking at Jack still, but if we look at the CBAs for Fremantle at the end of last year when Young came in, so we'll see Sarong, Brayshaw, and we've got Young down here. So yeah, he's averaging around, high 70s, I reckon, mid 70% there, CBAs. So if Fife is going to come in, and there's even been talk of Luke Jackson, that means that Sarong, Brayshaw, and Young are all going to have to lose some CBAs here. We got a pie, and those three were taking a third each, and if someone else comes in, obviously they're going to have to give up some. So hopefully Fife is not going to be the pick. I'm not picking him. I don't trust him at all. But if he is a pick and he does get like 50-60% CBAs, that's really going to hurt. I think probably Brayshaw would be the most obvious one, because he can play on a wing. So let's hope not anyway. But yeah, I'll get back to the team. So yeah, Young, and then D4 I'm not wild about this one, but Williams. I don't trust his body, obviously. He's made of glass. He's like another Aaron Hall. But at that price, he's a proven scorer. You kind of just got to go for it. I don't need to talk about him much. I think every team's going to have him. What's his ownership? 62%, same as Dacos. So yeah, if we go down, we go down together. It's one thing I'm trying to do this year differently to the previous few years. I can't remember who said it, but somebody said you're actually playing against the pack, like not the game itself. So if you can just stick with them and make a few pod decisions at the right times, that's how you can break away. It's definitely a lot less risky than, say, last year. If anyone was watching me in last pre-season, I tried to go a couple of really unique pods and it backfired. So yeah, just keep that in mind, I think. Next up is Caulfield. So he could change. I'm not entirely sold on him, but I've been hearing good stuff with the training reports and all that. Yeah, I don't know a hell of a lot about him yet, but again, 58% owned. So if we go down together. We'll get more of an idea with the practice rounds and stuff, or I think there's one and then there's an unofficial game or something like that. But that's fine. So these rookie guys are just kind of placeholders as well, so not too worried. D6, or it doesn't matter really, he could be on the bench, but Marty Hoare, loved him when he was in his first season. I think back in 2019 I had him then. He come in and I think he averaged like 70 odd, which was really good for a rookie. If he's named round 1, I'll pick him for sure. It looks like though that Howes might start in front of him, so if Howes is named round 1, then I'll pick him instead. So that's Hoare's teammate actually. Now I don't like having too much money on the bench, but it's kind of unavoidable, I think. I did toy with the idea of having Toby Pink here, or Reed from Essendon as well, but the extra money didn't really... I wasn't too settled on them as picks, and the extra money, I couldn't really get up to anyone else that I wanted, so I'm sure that'll change though. But Gibcus, again, I had him a couple of years ago in his first season. He was a solid as rookie, so give him another go. Not much to say about him. He should see a lot of the ball down there with Richmond. I expect will be one of the weaker teams this year. Hopefully he can just make his money and get moved on without any injuries and stuff. Now, this one, Curtin, he is a little less popular at the moment. He injured his knee at training and stuff. I don't know whether he'll be ready for round 1. I think he might be, but the training reports say that he's been doing really well, so I'd back him in. If he is named round 1, I think I'll definitely pick him. Because there's not a hell of a lot. Like, as I said, there's Pink down back and there's Reed, but Pink's like a lockdown defender, so I can't imagine he's going to get much of the ball. So, he'll probably average like 40 or something. It's not really ideal. I'd rather take the punt on Curtin. The Crom will be pretty desperate to use him, I think, and get him plenty of experience. So, midfield now, and I did something that I told myself all pre-season I wasn't going to do, or all off-season I should say I wasn't going to do. I'm starting the Bont. I didn't want to start anyone over 700k. Bont's the only one. I'm not starting English. At the end of the day, you need a safe captain option, and because I'm not planning on running any loopholes at this stage, it's even more important. He had that, I think it was an ankle clean out or something in the off season, but I don't think it's going to bother him at all. And he had an interview recently where he just mentioned something about forward roll. Just that word like strikes fear into all super coaches, but I don't think it'll be the case. If Bulldogs want to actually have a good run at it this year, then you play him in his best position. At the moment, I'd say he's the best player in the comp, so yeah, I'll lock him in. Even if he drops a little bit of money, who cares? Sometimes you just have to get the points, right? And I still think he's going to be probably M1. So this guy here, another really popular pick, 32%, Zach Butters. Apparently he's flying on the track. He went to another level last year, and I think he'll just pick up where he left off. I think he's a little bit underpriced for what he can do as well, so he's a pretty obvious one. I've seen him in most teams. Well, most of the better super coaches that I follow and stuff like that, so that's a good sign. Next is one that I wasn't that keen on at first, but I've sort of taught myself around on this guy. I think that it's a risky one, but the reward would be huge if he goes crazy. He showed that he could last year. He just needs to stay fit. So, if he goes crazy for a few games, his price will go up, and then you can always get out of it by going down. So I don't see that it's too much of an issue, really. And if you notice a theme here, I'm picking a lot of players that don't have the round 0 game, because I just don't want to deal with the extra buy. It's okay for someone like Dacos or whatever. He can probably absorb it, but I don't know about others. I don't want to take the risk. Even with the 40 trades, it's still going to be, still going to be a bit conservative, I guess. Next one up is Brayshaw. So that's the Fremantle variety. I wouldn't go near the other one, given that he's one concussion away from career over. I don't care what role he's got. So yeah, Brayshaw finished like a freight train last year after a slow start. Apparently he was injured. I've never been a huge fan of him in Supercoach. I've always felt like he's a little up and down or something like that. But yeah, he's definitely presenting value this year. So no problem going there. Next up, Matt Crouch. He was probably my first picked player when the team picker opened, and then I lost him for a while. I got rid of him, and I had Jack Steele actually up until today. So in the end, I just thought, Crouch is a proven performer. I know Steele is too, but I don't like Steele's average last year. Crouch has done it more recently, where he averaged the 106 at the end of last year. I just don't trust Steele and his body, and I think St Kilda have somewhat changed the way they play. I would not expect to see Steele hitting 120 average anymore. I'd be surprised if he hits 110, to be honest. The game's just changed. So yeah, willing to back in Crouch again. I think he's really good value there at 490k. And I felt like I was lacking, maybe a couple of Crom players, so yeah. The next few are a bit boring. Obviously, everyone's got them. McKercher should get games with North Melbourne, should score fine. Sanders, unreal junior numbers, so he should be good. Clark from Geelong, big raps on him. I'm sure he'll get games. Yeah, I always forget which one it is, but if the Scott brother that coaches Geelong, if he doesn't play Clark and Bruin and a few of the younger guys, then he needs to be sacked at this point, because he's kind of flogging a dead horse with these washed up premiership stars. They'll be West Coast before they know it. Wilson, been hearing good stuff about him. Don't know a hell of a lot about him other than that, but yeah, like I said, a lot of these rookies are just placeholders. Jeremy Sharp, I really enjoyed him at Gold Coast, so I think he'll easily be able to do it. At Fremantle, he should take Liam Henry's vacant wing and score pretty well, make his money and move on. And then the last one is Josh Sin. He's not as popular, so 11% owned. Supposedly in the match sims at training, he's been playing off the half back on the first team, so that's a really good sign. Yeah, Kenny does like to give the kids a go, I guess. So if he's named in round 1 and if it looks like he's maybe going to play half back or whatever, then yeah, I'll definitely name him. But I feel like there's going to be a sub risk with him and some of these rookies, I guess. But more so with him for some reason, just because I know how Kenny does like to back in the proven players a bit more. More so when push comes to shove, I guess, like in finals, as we saw. He'd rather play injured players than fit younger players. So now for the rucks, nice and boring. Gawn and Grundy, set and forget, I think. Well, I hope Grundy's a set and forget anyway. If he's not, it's fine. I think he'll make enough money that you can easily upgrade him to a Marshall or English, someone like that. I don't know. It's just, I haven't put a lot of thought into that yet, because it's just too much value, and whoever presents as the best option at the time, that's who I'll upgrade to if I need to. So R3, not playing a loophole for the first time ever at this point. Jordan Sweet, assuming he he is rucking for Port. I don't know what's going on with Soldo because he's been in the rehab group for some finger injury or something, and Sweet has been doing all the rucking in the match sim, but who knows what happens when Soldo gets back, so have to keep an eye on that one. But yeah, if he is playing, then R3, given that he's proven he can score in the past when he has played. So now, the absolute heap of shit forward line, which, everyone's forward line's a heap of shit, I think. I'm going safe here with McRae. I think people are judging him way too harshly. Yes, I know he used to be an absolute uber primo, like 120 plus average, but if he averages even 95 this year, he's still going to be top 6 forwards, assuming there's no crazy DPP stuff going on. So I think he's pretty safe bet to get that. I think he's safer than any other pick, really, in the forward line. So next up's Flanders, 36% owned. He's been in like every team of the decent super coaches that I follow anyway. So I think, yeah, we all go down together on that one, but I think he'll be fine, especially with Dimmer as coach. I think Flanders might turn into that like Kane Lambert type player that just follows the ball and racks it up a bit. James Jordan, he's another popular one, so I'm going with him. He was really good in his first season at Melbourne. I think he can do it again at the Swans. Hopefully he gets that wing role. Maybe even push into the midfield, but I kind of doubt that. But either way, he should score well enough to make like between 100 and 150k. That's all we really need. And, we'll get a free look at him in round 0. So, yeah, if he spuds it up, then I'll go elsewhere. Jack Hayes is another one that I've got my eye on. And to be honest, if I had the balls, I would change a few things around and probably pick Hayden McLean, who once Buddy went down last year, I think it was the last 5 or 6 games, McLean averaged 102, so he's kind of flown under the radar, probably because he's a second ruck and a key forward. But yeah, it kind of goes against my philosophy for this year to do something like that, given that it's burnt me in the past. So now Billings, again, he's well owned, 23%. Hopefully he's not going to play this wing role that he's been playing in the match sim. Hopefully it's more of a half forward, and I guess maybe get some CBAs. They will help if Oliver's not there. It increases his chances, I guess, but I honestly think that Oliver will be back for round 1. I just got a feeling. Harley Reid, everyone's picking him, 75% owned. I assume he would be the highest pick player in the game, and with good reason. He's playing that plum half-back role for West Coast. His job security would be great. There's going to be no one to take his spot. So, yep, just lock him in. Sean Manor. So this last spot here could be any of these bench spots or whatever. So yeah, Manor went crazy in the VFL. 6 goals and 30 touches or something in the losing grand final. Unbelievable effort. Finn McRae for Collingwood, so have both McRaes in the forward line. Yeah, it depends if he gets a game. He could be a sub risk, I guess. Again, he's a placeholder. We'll see. The good thing about him being 152k is that I can easily move down. I'm sure somebody will get a game below him. I got a bit different actually because I'm not keen on Cadman. I don't care that he was first pick and he's in a good team and stuff, but I don't think he's going to be scoring good enough to make any money, really. Not enough, I should say. Last is James Cheetahs, the cheat code. I think that he will benefit greatly from Dimmer and Dimmer's game style. Dimmer loves those kind of players, and I don't think he'll be getting CBAs, but he kind of reminds me of Prestia a bit. So if he's named round 1 and he's not sub, at that price, because he's mature ager, he actually, well, he should have played against Manor in the grand final where he got suspended, but yeah, he should do well, I think. He played a few games last year as the sub, but If he can just string some games together, I don't care if he plays 6 games. If that's enough to get us the money we need, then he served his purpose and off he goes. So that's it. I'm not wild about this team, honestly. Yeah, there's a few spots that change quite regularly, but I'm sure everyone's at that point right now, especially with new info coming out daily. Yeah, it's just I think you gotta be able to sort like what's good info, what's bad, what matters, what doesn't, and yeah, just kind of compartmentalize it. I think that's why I use the spreadsheet so much. Otherwise, it's just becomes overwhelming really quickly. But yeah, that's it. Rip it apart. Tell me in the comments what you think. If you think it's an absolute shit heap, then yeah, don't be afraid to say it. But thanks for watching, and yeah, I got something interesting coming in the next video. So I'll see you then.